Welcome back to Face It and Fix It. Our next guest, as I said, is no stranger to CBC or to the media, period. It is the Public Relations Officer of the SSA, Sanitation Service Authority, Mr. Carl Padmore, and he is joined by Janelle Edwards, the Communications Officer, Prosource Limited. And for those of you who may not be familiar, there's so many ads going around and a jingle and the garbage cans and roll it out, really and truly is what we've been hearing. We've been seeing it on Facebook. We've been hearing about it everywhere. And this program, and it's an exciting program, and the first time for Barbados, after so many years, we finally cleaning up the place in the way it was supposed to be cleaned up for years. Welcome, Janelle and Carl, to Face It and Fix It. Before I start, ladies first, Carl, of course, and
No problem.
beauty before, so let me put Janelle first. All right. Janelle,
Okay.
this company called Prosource, I know that they would have done the similar program in St. Kitts. I
That's
believe
right.
that they're also looking at other regional opportunities and they've been asked upon to sort of look at other waste management systems, and they're working on that. So this company, ProSource, is no stranger to separation of garbage and producing the scheduling of how things should be picked up in a timely manner, all the logistics, as I should say, pertaining to the waste management. Tell us a little bit about ProSource
Okay,
from
thank
your
you so much.
perspective.
I'm happy to be on the show. So ProSource, as you rightfully said, we would have recently embarked on a similar waste collection improvement project in St. Kitts. And now we're coming home to home ground in Barbados. It's a Barbadian company. And we do have interest from across the Caribbean region, from the north parts of the Caribbean to the south. We like to not be known as the waste management specialist, and we're happy to be working alongside the Sanitation Service Authority on this project that will modernize and transform the way that waste is collected in Barbados.
I understand that this program, long time in coming, but finally here. I know there was a lot of preparation work. I know that you have field officers that have to get information. I understand that the information is tied to the Barbados Water Authority meters. Hence, you would have seen some officers. What exactly were some of the other things you had to do in order to get to this point? Because I know you're rolling it out in a few days. Hmm.
Thank you, Joyann. So it's a good question that you brought up. Many people will now see we're now moving into the customer facing part of this project where we're now engaging with householders on a real level. Householders will receive a 65-gallon rollout cart for your municipal solid waste, so that's for your general garbage, as well as an 18-gallon recycling bin for plastics. So that's the component of the project that we're in currently, but the project has many components. I'm sure that many Barbadians would have seen the retrofitted garbage trucks, where we have mechanical cart lifters that will assist the lorry loaders who work in the back in lifting these new roll-up carts and tipping them. That's one component. The project also will feature in-cab solutions, which will help the SSA to better optimize the routes. And at the end of the project, Barbadians will actually be able to have a collection day. And that's one of the biggest and the most proud parts of this project for us, as well as the fact that the lorry loaders will not be displaced. So I know we have seen some comments about persons querying whether lorry loaders, how is it going to work? But yes, it's a mechanism, but we cannot do it. It cannot be lifted on its own. So the lorry loaders are still required. And it's really to provide safer and healthier conditions for the guys who work at the back of those trucks.
So basically, the truck man and my guys, which I can have it out with Carl for moving my regulars. I like the new ones, but I miss the old ones. But basically, the benefits to SSA workers, in particular, the guys at the back. What
Yes.
you're saying is that gone are the days of lifting it and flipping it, but the truck itself would have to. It doesn't actually pull up and lift it from the side. The
No.
wheels and the handles allow for you to just roll it
That's
roll it
correct.
onto the back of the truck, and the truck then flips it, and you're done there. No, I want to get to
Even one
out.
step, sorry to interject, there's just one step as well. So at the side of each of the garbage truck on both sides, there's a lever, and that lever, so once you roll out the cart and it's your garbage collection day, the cart will be rolled up, and the lorry loaders will actually operate the lever at the side to actually action the mechanical cart lifter. So it's not a system where that you might see in the US where everything is fully automated. So there's no ability to lift it without the levers and without the two guys working at the back.
Hence the reason that you can safely say that there'll be no loss of jobs. Now, I'm going to deal now with Mr. Padmore about moving my favorite guys in Union, St. Philip. But I'll tell you this, they were so polite that I think on their last trip, they saw me and they actually informed me, Miss Haigh, you're going to see us no more. They moved us, you have another crew, just as good. But my concern is, know that we see that we have new garbage trucks, number one, retrofitted garbage trucks by Prosource, logistics being handled by Prosource, the rollout is handled by Prosource, sanitation now, obviously this is done in tandem with Sanitation Service Authority, but the success of this project really lies at the end result of all of the hard work and the logistics done by this company. Carl, it is then up to you and your team to roll it out in a way that has been prepared. Now, there are some challenges that the public have always, been concerned about. Everybody cannot get a bin, apparently, with this project. It is for domestic persons, it's for domestic use, so it's not commercial. How are you going to manage the collection in the areas that the trucks can't get into? What is the plan to go along with this project?
Right. Two things will happen there. Some of those areas that we've already flagged that will continue to have a general skip. Also, there's some areas where you would have seen a cluster of the bins, the normal metal bins, by the end of the curbside. The residents will still have their bin because each bin is coded to your water bill. So we know that it's your bin. And all it is we want you to carry your bin. Remember, it's a gift from the government for you. It's free, but we still want you to carry it. So although your bin, just like your metal bin, would be, let's say, 20 feet away because the truck can't get in front of your house, we still want you to carry that bin. That's very important for us. So we will not, we're not going to make it cumbersome for you to handle your waste. You will put your waste inside that. Now, you will also get, like Janelle said, a recyclable bin. And months down the road, we will phase in that as well. For the time being, we want you to get into the habit of separating the plastics, and we will reach the community the type of plastics we want placed there.
Oh, so you're rolling out as well educational program on separation? Yes. Who's responsible for that? Is that SSA or is that a collaboration between Prosource?
It's going to be a collaboration, private and public sector, but we have the solid support of Prosource, but we're going to be doing a lot of that in-house where possible.
But you carry majority of the responsibility for sensitizing on the separation of waste.
The whole content of the recycling will be coming from our engineering department. We have persons there that we would have sent overseas to be trained. This is years, even before this project came up, on recycling benefits and all of that. It's just that we don't have a national recycling policy, but we are hoping that through education we can lead towards that. So the recycling bin, the blue one that you can see there, that is the one that we're going to be focusing on to get Barbadians into the habit, because it's a lifestyle of placing the plastics in there. And we're going to be telling you down the road the type of plastics we want at this time.
I think this is so pretty. I can just imagine seeing this sea of bins, all the same, right through all of the neighborhoods in Barbados. Janelle, just a quick question pertaining to these bins, as you said, you can track them, and how can you explain that? They're equipped with what?
Okay, so the rollout carts, which is the one with the green lid, as well as the recycling bin, the blue one, come equipped with a RFID, a radio frequency identification tag. It's a smart tag that allows us to identify and track the bins. We
Can I
also take
tamper with that?
questions,
Can I
and no,
tamper?
you cannot
No,
tamper with it.
I mean I can't tamper, but is it tamper proof? I should say.
As to a certain extent, yes, it is. Of
Okay.
course, there are people who go
Would
to
try
different lengths,
anything.
but the average person, yes, it is tamper proof. We have seen a question on our social media. Persons are querying whether what happens if the bin is stolen, and it's a good question. The first thing we're going to say is that we have 100,000 rollout carts and 100,000 recycling bins to be distributed. So for the most part, all Barbadian households will have this. There are some caveats, of course, for commercial areas, etc. So there should be no reason to steal someone else's
Well,
bin.
I can
And then,
tell you this, Janelle. A couple years ago, it was
yes,
in 2004 or 5. I had a metal bin, and Carl, listen to this carefully. I just put down the metal bin, a little, that little metal bins you get. And about 3, 4 days after I put it down, somebody stole it. So, and that was just a metal bin years ago. I bought
okay,
then a bin similar to what you have with the wheels, and I had to chain it in the handles onto the posts of the wall in order for it not to be removed. So you're saying that people, if they remove it, it can either A, be replaced, but you don't want to encourage people to say, well, look, if somebody steal it, I can replace it. You more or less want to encourage them not to steal it, I should say.
not to steal them, because one, the bins, like I said, have a RFID that allows us to identify and track. If we realize that the bin perhaps is in an area where it shouldn't be, then our team, as well as the SSA, will have handheld devices, and
They
they
can
can
find it
scan and tag to see like why is this
where
bin
it
in a
is.
particular area.
All right.
We also want for residents when they receive their bins, their rollout carts as well as their bins, to note somewhere at home the last 6 digits on the rollout cart. What that would allow is if there are any queries or any questions that they may have.
This
For
is
example, if
when you flip the lid. When you flip the lid, then there's
no, on the back of the rollout cart, near the area where you're going to push it, it's
okay,
identifiable, easily identifiable. So it's going
okay,
to be no problem finding it. You
okay,
can note the last 6 digits on your rollout cart. Should you have to call the SSA's hotline, or if you have to email Prosource, then we'll require that information from you.
okay. We gotta take a quick break, but when we come back, we want to know how easy it is to call the SSA and who answers the phone. As we know, a lot of government agencies, we have some problems with that. Coming back after the break. Welcome back to Face It and Fix It, and the correct show to be on, as we have had to face the garbage problems over the years. We are now hearing about how we are fixing the garbage issues after so long. We know that we have garbage trucks. We also know that we have these trucks retrofitted. We now know that we have roll-out carts. We're now finally coming into the 21st century with the separation of garbage, thanks to Prosource Limited and the SSA working together in a PPP venture. And I think Barbadians should be pretty excited about it. Now, before the break, we talked about getting some information off of the back of the garbage can. Is that the garbage can for the general garbage or the waste? Sorry, the recyclable garbage. Janelle?
So the rule, both will have different tags, so you can get it from both. But more importantly, we were talking about the rollout cart, which is the one that will hold your garbage.
65-gallon. Okay. So Carl, if I call the SSA, am I going to hear somebody at the end of the phone answering me and what is the time? Like, is it 8:30 to 4:30 set up? Because if there's one thing I don't think Barbadians know is that you have a call center set up, a customer service. Listen, a lot of Bajans, well, if they knew, they wouldn't call the calling programs to tell. They would have called yours.
But they call up to this morning alone. We have had 30 calls, and this is from like.
All right, let me rephrase. Let me rephrase. Right. I think that it should be noted that
that's right.
You have a customer service section equivalent to that of a hotline that I believe that more Barbadians should know about, and I don't think enough Barbadians know. So I wouldn't say that no one knows. It's something that now that you're rolling out this new project, there are going to be a lot of questions. So if it's not Prosource they're calling, and it's SSA they're calling, remember the success of this project is really about the SSA and the end result to us. So from what I'm hearing, Prosource is the logistics. Getting everything ready, rolled out, laid out in preparation for you guys to do your job in a better way, in a more comfortable way, because they don't have to lift in a way where the schedules now will be there for the public. So that means that's put into place. But I am only concerned about the call center, not because it's SSA, because of our experience with other call centers. I want to make sure that yours is different then.
262-5326, 262-5326. The second number, 262-5327, 262-5327. You can call these numbers up to 10:30, 11 at night, and the lines will open from 6 to 6:30 in the morning. And it is not only for the project, which will be rolled out, by the way, Wednesday. This Wednesday, we're going to St.Lucy. We are going to be launching the project.
You starting in St.Lucy and not up by where we live in St. Philip? What happened? When you can get
No, you see, St.Lucy, according to Janelle and according to all the other ladies, you may be different. We have to start with the island's lone female parish. We have to dress her up and make her even more queenly than before. So we're going to start at the top and come down. I had to give way to the ladies. You know, I might say, let's go St. Philip. I might say, let's go Christ Church. But I said, let's start at the top. So fine, we're going there. There's nothing magical about it. We opted to do that because Janelle will tell you that we have mapped out Barbados. And really, the north is not only St. Lucy. The north is a collection of parishes in the north. But we have earmarked the area in St. Lucy. And Minister Peter Phillips will be there giving remarks. Minister Adrian Ford will be there.
Do we know where? Or can you say where or no? Where in St. Lucy?
We can't say where, but we just want to say to Barbadians, it is not a public event. Still, please understand, because it will be streamed. So a stream link will be going out. We're going to Broomfield area. But note, it is not a public event. Yes, public, we are coming to you, but we don't expect
nothing.
All of you
Nothing is a public event in a pandemic. Right now,
right.
So
good.
We can. So question for either you or Janelle. So I live in an apartment, and
Yes.
should I say two, upstairs, downstairs, 1 meter, but there are 10 people. Do I get one garbage can, or I live in an apartment block and there's 6? Do I get 6 garbage cans for that apartment block? One each, because each person would have to recycle. Each
Okay.
person would have to.
Okay, so that's a good question for apartment complexes. So even before the project officially rolls out on Wednesday, our team of field officers would have been out in the field, making assessments on certain areas, etc. We would have also worked closely with the SSA to come up with a scheme. So I know your producer is here, and it would be good for Barbadians to actually visually see what the plan is for apartments and complexes. So on our website, if the producer goes to question number 6, and just clicks the schedule, you'll be able to bring it up on the screen for everybody to see, based on the apartment size, etc., how many roll-out carts and recycling
And
bins they
not
will
and
use.
not how many water meters. And it is tied to the water meter. So you
Right.
could have,
Situations where if there, so here it is. So
okay, here
if you
it is,
have
1 to
4
4.
apartment complexes, you get 4, and then they go all the way to 16. If we have received some calls already. If there are more than this, then you can feel free to send us an email at info@prosourcelimited.co, and we will have a conversation with you along with the SSA to make a determination for your area. But we have been out in the field making these assessments. But this is the current schedule. So Barbadians and householders can go on our website, and that's www.prosourceltd.co, and it gives you all the information on the project. Any queries, we have about 27 frequently asked questions. And like Carl said, you can also call the hotline, or you can send us an email.
So quickly before I get back to Carl, you said you have field officers out there, and we know that during these times, some people may come and purport to be a field officer.
Yeah.
I want you to tell us, I don't know if it's on the page, the producer can pull it up if you have a picture of a field officer, the shirt, the tag, everything, so that Barbadians can be careful, because there's limited, if none at all, interaction with the field officer and the customer. Give
That's
us a
correct.
little breakdown there so that the public would know nobody from Prosource coming to knock on your door to say they need to come and see inside of your house to see where to put a garbage can in the back. Explain.
Okay, so the process is very minimal. Of course, we have, like I said, we rolled out this project in St. Kitts before, and now we're here in Barbados, both under COVID times. So our interaction, the field officers' interaction with homeowners is limited. So the first thing I want Barbadians to know is that no, you do not need to be at home to receive your cart or your bin. We will place them in close proximity to your current location, or physically on your property if we are able to do so. So wherever your current bin is, we'll make that allocation, and then each rollout cart will have on the inside, when you receive it, a direct mailer with more information, as well as more details on the recycling plan and how things will roll out shortly. When field officers come, they'll be wearing a gray shirt like mine. It says Prosource, or a white shirt, and they also carry identification should you want some additional information or have a query.
So quickly though, if it is that I have the type of house that as soon as I step out, when you step up on the front road, there's no space, then I normally put a bag out on my step. Can I still get a can? Or, because I may tell you, you may not leave it, but I may say, look, I can keep my garbage in the backyard, open up my paling gate and roll it out to the truck. Can that still work? Or is it, if you don't have the space with the garbage can, you can't get one? How is that going to be managed?
No, so that's a great question. And actually, we have a resident who we spoke with at length, myself, environmental ambassador, who she doesn't like her bin at the front of her home. She's pretty, she's a pensioner, she's at home, and she wondered if she could have it in her yard, and she puts her garbage there, and then on the roller, on her collection day, she can just roll it to the front. And that's absolutely fine. You can have your bin stored in a location, and if you're comfortable with just rolling it out on the day because you're at home, then you can do that. But like I said, one of the big benefits of this project would be that near the end of the project, the routes would be optimized, and Sanitation Service Authority will be able to tell householders which day they'll get their collection. So some people, aesthetically, having garbage on the front is not good for them, so they'll store it on the back, and then they can just
Until
roll
they're
it
ready to
out.
pull it out,
Collect.
roll it out, I should
Yeah.
say. All right, Carl, last question at you, because we're running out of time. Now, all of this is fine and good. I think it's an excellent program. I think it's time we changed it anyway into recycling, etc. But we got a bigger problem. This is taking care of the domestic end. What are we going to do now in the garbage in the public spaces that we see in? I mean, how can we better sensitize Barbadians to, you know, clean it up a little bit when you're going to the beach, when you're in a park, around car parks in, say, Oistins area. I'm mentioning Oistins. I know that Prosource of Father's Day, did you renovate or did you build it? Did you repair? I never get the name right. Somebody help me here. I always call it the house for the skit.
Well, we call it the Oistins way station. So
Way
we would have
station.
worked.
Well, I mean, it's like a room, it's like a house, opening up with the skit inside of it.
Two sanitation skits, which houses two sanitation
Waste station
skits.
skits. I will never
so
get
that
over the
area-
fact I never remember that name. Waste
No
station
problem.
skits. And you guys painted it up on Father's Day as a joint event. But Mr. Padmore, as I said, we got 1 minute. What we can do but the public spaces though?
We are working closely with the Ministry of Health, the health inspectors. Right now, as you know, they are caught up with the COVID fight, which is taking priority. We are also working with some business houses. We've had meetings with the Chamber of Commerce, and in fact, they have changed some of their personnel, so they're going to reconvene meetings shortly. And we want to go on a big campaign, especially around the town areas. When I say town, not only Bridge Town, but Oistins Town, Spikes Town, Whole Town, to try to get the buy-in from the business places as how we can clean this up. In terms of the marketplaces now, Bridgetown, up there, Fairchild Street, and Bay Garden, we are trying to meet, well, for instance, the Bay Garden, we met with Eric Lewis already, and we met with the president, a fellow called Mr. Harris, of the Vendors Association, and we're looking to educate, continue to do training, so we can get them at that level where they understand that even although you have a kiosk, you can still separate, make it tidy before the collection. So we know it's a long fight. We know we have to be intense in it, but we are going to be picking that up soon after we get this project off and running smoothly. This is the priority right now because Wednesday is just 48 hours away. And we can twin it with our whole recycling program that is coming up.
All right, that is all the time we have for this particular segment. I want to thank Janelle Edwards of Prosource Limited, Carl Padmore from the SSA. We were discussing the Residential Waste Collection Improvement Project coming at you on Wednesday. St. Lucy, look out. They're coming your way. And I hope, though, in closing, that you don't do St. Lucy, St. Andrew, St. Peter, that you could jump from St. Lucy and come to St. Philip and then do everybody else in between. Because I am looking forward to my bin. Thank you very much. All right, so we want to thank you. We're going to invite you again because I think I'm going to give you about 2-3 weeks so you can come back and talk about how the rollout actually went. Okay? Because people more interested in what you do, not what you're going to do. So I know what you've done so far, but the rollout, now, it will be interesting to see how it's working. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
We'll be back.